Hey everyone, it's Daisy here. Welcome back to my channel. I wanted to give you guys a story time about a time where my contract got canceled. I lost my apartment and I was pretty much just trying to figure things out while I was on assignment. Now, if you want to hear this crazy story, then stay tuned. If you guys have been following me, I know you have. I am a travel nurse based out of Los Angeles. I'm originally from New York. I am a labor and delivery travel nurse, and I have been in California for almost 2 years now. I transitioned out to California right before the pandemic. The pandemic life of living in California is all I know. It's been a very weird transition for me. With travel nursing, you can only be in one location for about 1 calendar year. That can either be hospital or metro area. That's why I started to venture out when it came time of my 1 year being in Los Angeles to start venturing out to different cities in California. I was looking at different agencies because the agency that I was with at the time, I felt like they kind of did me dirty with one of my last contracts with them. So I was like, I want to start to venture out and look into other agencies. And I signed up with this one agency. They seemed good. They seemed legit. I feel like the situation was kind of messed up. I found a contract. It seemed really great. But the thing was, the contract wasn't in California. It was in Seattle. I had never been to Washington State before, and I felt like it was still on the West Coast. It wouldn't be such a hard transition for me. I said, sign me up. And I was submitted for a day shift position for this location. I personally don't like working nights. I can't work nights. My body don't like nights unless the pay is top tier. Unless the pay top tier, that's the only way I'm gonna work nights. This pay was, it was mid-tier, right? I was good with working days there, and that was the discussion of it. I didn't hear anything about the assignment, but apparently this place was really desperate for staff, so I figured that I was going to be a shoo-in. So I get a call from 2 of the managers at 2 different locations. They had a location in Seattle, and then they had another location in Tacoma. I got a call from 2 different charge nurses or 2 different nurse managers on the unit saying that they only wanted night shift. I said, okay, that's great. I don't work night shift. And they said, oh, that's fine, hopefully something opens up and then we can bring you onto our team. They both said that. I wait, in my head, I don't think that I got this job because they said they weren't looking for nights. I'm not trying to get hit with that bait and switch. I just left that job on the table and started applying for other places. I get a call from my agency and they're like, hey Daisy, great news. You got accepted. They want to offer you a position at this hospital in Seattle. But the thing is that they don't have exactly day position. They have evening position, which was 11 to 11. So 11 A to 11 P. Yeah, the shift sucks, but I mean, as long as I'm sleeping in my bed at night, I think I could manage. I said, okay, great. I get the pay breakdown. It ain't ka-chinging like I thought it was gonna ka-ching. I was like, eh. Now, anytime you have that kind of feeling, if something doesn't sit right in your spirit, just believe it, because I wish I would have in this case. I'm looking at the contract, and this is why it's important to know your pay breakdown when you do travel nursing, because I just saw the gross amount and everything looked good. The gross amount is the amount that you make before taxes, and that looked good, but the amount that I made after taxes wasn't. I was like, well, I don't really feel comfortable with this pay, but I didn't have another option at the time, so that was my mistake because I was too desperate when it came to going to another place instead of just kind of laying low and kind of waiting it out. My company, they asked me, do I have my Washington license? I'm like, no. I had to book a flight just to fly to Washington to do my fingerprints for my Washington license and fly back within the same day. It was crunch time. I think it was 2 weeks before I was about to start the assignment. I flew up to Washington the next day, went to Washington, did my fingerprints, and decided to make a day out of it. I went to the Space Needle, kind of had like a little bit of a day trip for myself. Seattle was nice, I guess. It was just, Seattle was nice, but it wasn't really saying nothing to me. I remember I was literally in the airport flying back to LA after booking this next day flight to Seattle, and I get a call from my agency telling me the job was no longer available and they were canceling my contract. What do you mean the job's not available? I signed a contract. I found housing. I gave up my apartment here. What do you mean there's no contract? They said, oh, they told us that they had an evening position available for you, but that wasn't the case. They only have night positions. So in that case, since you signed for a day position, your contract is no longer. I'm telling my recruiter, I'm like, what do you want me to do? I gave up my apartment. They said, well, you know, she says, that's the name of the game when it comes to the travel nursing. I was livid when it came to that. I was so upset. I was in the airport trying not to cry because I'm like, what the F am I gonna do? I fly back home, try to figure my life out. I have to be out of my apartment in 2 weeks. I didn't even know what to do. Thankfully, it kind of all worked out because this same agency was able to find me a 3-week contract. Even though 13 weeks is a lot different from 3 weeks, this agency was able to get me a 3-week contract doing an EMR conversion that very top tier. That was their saving grace for me to go from a 13-week contract to a 3-week contract. But now I'm living out of a hotel. So anyway, I say all that to say, don't give up your apartment when you go on a travel assignment. Don't be like me. I lived out of a hotel for about 3 weeks. It sucked. So yeah, it was like that until I had to go groveling back to my old company who did me dirty and get underpaid again. And I said never again. And that's my story time for why I lost my apartment and I had to grovel back to my company again. But let me tell you how God works. I ended up reaching out to my old roommate and my old landlord, and apparently the person who had moved into my place had wanted to leave. So it was kind of an easy transition and I just came right back in. So that's when you say, you know, things work in mysterious ways. And now I'm back in my old apartment that I had before my life went to crap. That's my story time. So the point of the story time and the lesson to be learned is don't be too desperate for a job that you are willing to take, 1, lowest pay, and 2, give up everything and end up with nothing. I hope this helped one of you guys. And I will talk to you later. Bye.